party every spring.
Hey, Jerry.
And I went in 2019 and I signed up for 2020. It was their like 10th anniversary of it. And then obviously it was canceled. But they have like the one like whole like tent thing, they have like different foods and like, finger food things. And you bring your own pot. And you just go through and you pick whatever plants and stuff you want and like you pay them.
That's
And
a
then,
good idea.
really nice property out there. So it was just fun.
Okay, we're being recorded, so. There is one.
I have to watch what I say,
Well,
being recorded.
He's quiet.
I can turn it off. What's the volume on this thing?
You want me to test it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Annie's gone.
Oh, no.
That wasn't it.
No, I screwed it up.
Is it on your laptop? Cause I know when I do Zoom sessions at work, the volume's on my
Oh.
laptop.
How about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I know nothing about that.
Can you hear me from the laptop?
We're trying to get back on the Zoom.
Yeah.
You wanna try to get out of the whole thing first? Save and exit in the corner there.
Can anyone hear me?
Rooms again.
Can you hear me out there? Nanette, can you hear me?
Which one to push? Anybody got any suggestions? Sound. Scared me. What was that? Password very hard to see. I have no idea. All right. We're done.
Check the laptop.
Want to go home, everybody? Let me see if I can log on here and see, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It was all set up.
There is a house code and a meeting number here.
Yeah, it's on the agenda, but people are
That's
online.
not,
There's people are
that's not the
supposed to.
password that's gonna let you into the program though. Will you grab that? Did you sign it?
But I did,
You did?
number one. Top, first top.
Oh, it was so little.
Recording in progress.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I hear you.
Now we're in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Where's the microphone on?
There's all these people on here. There's all these people on here. There's Tyler
Me,
Savage,
Jerry,
Stephen
Tyler
Elliott.
Savage, and Stephen Elliott.
Yeah. You may have to mute that other computer, unless you can hear me okay.
And
And here I am.
Will you sign in?
Yes.
Okay. Are you sharing?
I can't hear.
I'll just a minute.
Let me try one more time with the TV.
Oh,
if anybody knows what the setting is for the TV.
oh, I'm sorry, I stole the pen. Did
TV
I steal it? I don't know who I stole that from.
Dynamic.
I can see you
Is that
guys.
a Bluetooth device?
Nothing's happening. There is.
Hmm?
Hmm?
What did you do up in the corner?
Well,
That's working and this is working. It's the TV that's not working, which would broadcast who's online, so. Yeah, but I can't turn the volume up. I can't hear them.
Can you hear me now?
I think you're getting the feedback because that's on and that's on, so one of them would have to be muted.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's mute that one. Where'd everything go? I got nothing.
Oh, for Pete's sake, they're still there.
Yeah, no, but my thing's gone.
I bet Jerry knows how to do it, but we can't hear him.
I'm 110 miles away.
Yeah, he's talking.
Try hitting input. Nanette, can you hear me in your computer?
years old. The temporary shutdown allowed for commuters, workers to fix the aging system. Francis remained in critical condition in a Rome hospital as he battles a complex lung infection. Coming up next, we'll get an update from a driver knowledgeable on the pontiff's condition and the impact healthcare is having on Catholics around the world. And it does appear Andrew Cuomo could be close to announcing he is running for mayor of New York City. We'll be learning about his possible intentions. But first, make a little forecast.
I'm sure you love those 50s that we had here today. And the coming time, worry about the shower with the scenario fall apart. We will see more 15-degree weather this week. I'll tell you about it. 6 o'clock. You just come through right now. Weather is just getting started. We're already on the road. Watch the video. Stay updated on the biggest stories. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on Fox 5. Too much heat in this car. Too much heat. I only paid Lisa, all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson for $259 a month today.
You probably know a national forester actually installed flooring the next day. And you may be thinking, what's the big deal? Well, if you go to a flooring store or big home warehouse, your installation could take up to 6 weeks or more. Just ask them. Well, you don't think that's right. The National Forest Direct, if you call today, you'll see a representative when you want. And you'll have your
All right, we're using this thing here. Did you turn that down over there? Okay, great. This is working. Sorry about that, folks. I'm technology challenged over here. Can you hear?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Well,
Good.
welcome everybody that's out there in
Thank you.
La La Land.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get started. I'll turn this around here. I can't get the TV to work. That
All
is
right.
my problem. So we'll just start with the tree grants. I just wanted to give everybody an update. If they didn't already know, our $1 million federal grant was frozen by our illustrious president. And we haven't, it was frozen for 90 days so that his people can review and make sure that everything was done properly and there's no wasteful spending or whatever. So that'll be April. We should know by Arbor Day if it's reinstated or not. We also was asked today to sign an amendment to the subaward saying that we wouldn't do anything. We can't use the grant. We can't spend any money. We can't do any of the programs until this is cleared up. So I was going to ask our attorney to review this document, but it got signed and sent like pronto, and I didn't even get a chance to talk to him.
I didn't read it either.
It came and I saw it at 10 a.m. and I sent Jody and who else? Somebody else. An email saying we shouldn't sign this until our attorney, Chris Orlando, looks at it and until the mayor gets back from vacation.
Yeah. All right.
But it got signed. I don't know. They really jumped on it. So I guess they signed it before they read my email. But in any case, so we've been instructed by Hispanic Access Foundation to stand down on any tree activity provided through the grant, which should include hiring a contractor to perform tree maintenance and to remove high-risk trees and plant new trees. So we can't do anything with that. However, we do have a companion grant from the state of New Jersey, which we can work on, but that needs to be adjusted because what we put in that grant is different from what's in the other grant. So if we're going to use that second grant to do some of the work in the first grant, we have to get approval for that. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. They did give us permission to take down 3 high-risk trees. And part of the state grant, the second grant, was to do a tree inventory. And that identified several high-risk trees. And we want to, you know, now that we've been notified of them, we want to make sure that we take them down before anything happens. Because if we ignored it and something did happen, then we could be held liable. So did you do anything with that, Jerry?
Yeah, so I met with the tree man. So we have 5 high-risk trees that we're able to sneak into the plan and prune 2 trees. One of the high-risk trees, not really a high risk, it's just a 15-foot trunk right now. It was the tree on St. Louis near the, I don't know, the Rusty Nail or whatever that place is called. So he's taking that down as well. I met with him yesterday at 3:30. And so far, I don't have a revised estimate, but as soon as I do, we'll be able to move forward on it.
Good, good. All right, so that's the status of our tree grants, and let me I gotta take care of an email for Ryan.
Who has the spreadsheet of the data?
It's all online. I was going to show it
to us tonight.
Yeah, I was going to show it to you tonight,
Okay.
but I'm having a hard time with my getting in, so I could only show you what's available to everybody. There's a secret back cave entrance where you have to have a password, and you could get in and really play with the thing. And do a lot with it. Did you get in there, Jerry?
Yeah, I did. That's how I was able to, Nanette, that's how I was able to create the plan that I had to send to the DEP. I was able to use the information off of the tree keeper inventory. And it's all in the cloud. We don't store any of it.
I don't understand the cloud.
Well, it's just an online database. It goes to their.
Yeah.
Somebody's waiting to get in, so I got to send them the.
Question for Jerry. If one
Yes, sir.
printed it out, how many pages would it take?
It's extensive, Doc. I'm not sure. I didn't look to see how it could be printed out. I'm sure there's a print version, but I haven't played with that. But I'll be able to let you know as soon as I get back to the office Monday morning. I'm not back to the office until Monday morning. Meaning the DPW office. I don't have another office in the city.
Could you please find my file? Oh, here it is. Right.
It's one of those databases where you can search everything by keyword, by street name, mostly by street name actually. Oh, by tree type, risk assessment, those kinds of things. It's all sorts of keywords you can do searches on.
Yeah, it's. I wanted to show them the heritage trees that we have.
Yeah, we have 18 trees that are larger than 40-inch DBH in the city, which is a great, considering we haven't maintained trees for a long time. Thank God they're still there.
And I think that number one, the largest one is like 52 inches, and
Yeah,
it's
56, Nanette. Yeah,
it's the
correct.
Willow Oak on the 200 block of Buffalo Avenue. That's the largest tree in town.
Yep.
How about it's in the 100 block of Washington. Is an enormous London, not a London plane.
Sycamore.
Come on. It'll come to me in a minute, sorry.
So we'll be able to look it up.
When the street was repaved.
And it wasn't?
It wasn't. It's mostly dead.
It is dead?
Mostly dead. No tree is fully alive or fully dead.
Well, you know, we're hoping that when we do maintenance on them, that they will regenerate, because that does help a lot of times. So we'll see.
Linden, it's a linden,
A linden,
also known as a basswood in this country.
basswood, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
All right, so that's the status of our tree grants for now, and the tree removal ordinance was put on hold. And the reason that was done, I mean,
Good.
we will have to do it at some point, but until we get our grant funds reinstated, the city really cannot afford to live up to what is they're asking for in that.
Did the city pass the ordinance?
No,
Good.
we were going to introduce it, and it was, they had objections to it. So we sent it back to the ordinance committee. The ordinance committee reviewed it on January 27th, and the committee agreed to remove the application fees and the replacement fees. That people will still have to replace the trees, and the city will have to replace street trees. But until we know if we have that tree grant reinstated, we really can't afford to replace trees or take them down. So, because it's thousands of dollars to take down a tree.
But if a tree falls over the street, you will clear it.
Yes, it's public.
Yeah, we
Works
did
will
that
do
today.
And Jerry's done that, a few of them already. There were several that came down in that over the weekend, right?
We had another one go down on Northrop and
God, they're full and all.
Burger and one of the cross streets that begins with an N, and then I forget what the name of it is.
Nagali?
No, not Nagali. Burger and
No.
Northrop.
Norfolk?
Yeah, Norfolk and Burger. We had a tree go down today. I wasn't there. I was on my way up north already, but the guys had to go clear because it was in the street.
Oh, so it was a street tree.
It was a street tree, no provocation, no wind, beautiful day today, just came down. So decided today was the day.
All right, so so the committee felt that as long as the city had outside funding, they'd be able to do the replacements, but since we don't have that outside funding, we really can't live up to the demands of the ordinance. So we put it on hold until we find out if this tree grant is reinstated, and if it is, then we'll.
State is going to require that there's an ordinance. What if the grants wind up going away?
Well, only one of the two grants will go away. If it's going to be a problem, and we're going to have to deal with it. I don't know how, but maybe they'll let us take away the replacement part on the part of the city, because whenever the city spends money, it's taxpayers' money.
Right.
So, for trees on private property, that would be an individual property owner.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect the city as much, but if it's a street tree, and those trees cost like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to remove.
Yeah.
So, if a tree comes down, we have to clear it, and then we're required to replace it. It's easy to get money to plant trees. That's not an issue. We've gotten 2 tree grants prior to these big grants. So it's easy to get like $30,000 and you could plant 100 trees with that money. But that's not the issue. It's clearing them, taking them down and maintaining them. And that was the whole idea behind applying for the grants, is because they were maintenance grants, and you never ever see maintenance grants. You see tree planting grants, and the state has plenty of money for that because they collect money from the license plates that say treasure our trees. So they have constant revenue. Plus, the state has a no net loss policy, where if any road work is done on state highways, the parkway, the expressway, anything like that, if trees come down to widen the road, those contractors or property owners are required to put money into a bank. Yes, and so there is money there for tree plantings, but not for maintenance, and that's what we desperately desperately need, because we need to save as many trees as we can, because we need the shade. And we had a whole program lined up, and it included, when we do road projects, taking trees down that need to come down and replacing them. And we put $10,000 for every street that we do a road project on. So, that's the stuff that's kind of been put on hold. It's annoying and I'm upset about it. And personally, I feel like this Hispanic Access Foundation isn't advocating enough for the grants.
Yeah.
And the way it worked was, instead of the federal government giving the grant directly to the city, they gave it to our pass-through partner, which is this Hispanic Access Foundation. So we were awarded the grant in September of 2023. We didn't have a signed contract with Hispanic Access until August of 24. So that whole year was working with Hispanic Access, because I don't think they ever did this before.
Right.
So they were feeling their way through and their procedures and their documentations and paper. And it just held us up. And through this whole thing, I'm like, we got an election coming up. It's going to flip. We got to start spending this money. And we weren't able to. So finally, we got the contract agreed to in August. And then the first step was to do the inventory, because you can't really decide where you're going to plant trees and what the process is going to be until you have the inventory. So we used the second grant to pay for the inventory, and it took a couple months to get that contract under their belt. And then it took them only a couple of weeks to do. I think it took them 2 weeks to do the inventory, and they did a phenomenal job. And the state's very happy that we have that. Jerry did some tree planting schematics and stuff, and he's sending that off to them so that we could do the next step. But again, we need to revise what we put in our original grant application, because the way it worked when we applied for the first grant, which was for the avenues, pretty much for our street trees. And then afterwards, we found out we were awarded, and I asked the state, should we apply for your grant too? And they said, yeah. So I applied for their grant, and in their grant, it says streets. So they're the cross streets that go east and west. So we need to talk to the state about revising that and letting us use that for the avenues or wherever priority plantings or removals have to take place. So I want to work on that.
Whatever time period that this stuff is on hold, does that eat time from when?
Well, that's why I wanted the attorney to review this, because if they're telling us to stand down and don't do anything.
Right, that should pause the time.
It should pause the time and give us an extension.
Yeah.
For the time lost.
That's a great
That's what I
question.
wanted, is make sure that was
Yeah.
in here.
Right.
Is that we get extra time on this grant. So, but it got signed and sent, so we're just gonna have to deal with that. All right, I'm sick of trees. And we have a phenomenal arborist, and he knows his stuff, so
You used
he
to
makes
love
it very
trees.
easy.
I remember when you used to love trees. I remember that. You used to love trees. I do want to point out, because Dr. Colby is there, I do want to point out that Davie Tree Service, I think when they counted up the trees and they went into the parks and then they did the north portion of town, counted up 3,266. I believe Dr. Colby, when he did his inventory, was 3,120. So Dick Colby did a damn good job. I can tell you that right now.
For years he's been doing that.
Yeah.
And
Impressive.
the difference probably is because we lost trees since the last time he walked the streets.
That's probably right. That's probably the difference.
So, all right, so let's get on to number C here. BPU Community Energy Implementation Grant. We received $128,000 from the BPU to install electric vehicle charging stations in town, public. So, and then we later found out from the county that they also got funding to do EV charging stations, and they wanted to concentrate on the rail line along the rail line in Atlantic County. So that kind of freed up some money. So we won't do 3, we'll only do 2. There's going to be 1 here and 1 on Philadelphia Avenue. Jody's handling that. She sent me an email today that she got some of the way the grant is written. There are already incentives out there from the BPU and Atlantic City Electric. So they're going to apply for those things first, and whatever the balance is what the grant will pay for. So hopefully that'll be done in the next couple months. And the one on Philadelphia Avenue will be located in front of the old Collective Federal Savings Bank. The last 2 on. What do you got here, Pleasant?
I just sent you something
Yeah,
to
I
read
know.
later.
It'll be in front of the last 2 parking spots before the intersection. The box is already there with the electric. That's why we chose that spot. And the other reason we chose that is because that bank has its own parking lot. So taking 2 parking spots from in front of the bank won't be burdensome on the building.
If it's not operating.
Yeah, if it's ever used again, you know. So, but that's moving along, and it's slow, but it's moving along.
Yeah, your place, I keep saying, is in the city parking lot behind the library.
Yep.
That is beyond the terrace.
That would be a good spot,
On
except,
Cincinnati Avenue.
so how do you access that? Do you have to access
From the
that from the
terrace.
terrace?
Yeah.
That might be a good spot. We still, if we have extra money, we might be looking at it. The big money is spent on bringing the electric to the site. That's called Make Ready, and that's the more expensive proposition, is to get the site ready for the installation. Did we get anything on that?
Yeah, Adrian's fine with doing that. I'm gonna, my life got really weird the last 2 months. We were supposed to have a negotiation meeting tomorrow. I was gonna give it to her, but I'm not gonna see her now because that's postponed, so I'm just gonna email it to her, but she's like, yeah, they can do that. You were saying, don't put a container in the school, or like?
Well, that's what the girl said. She said, don't put it in the schools, put it in a library so everybody can drop off books.
Yeah,
I mean, notebooks.
right. Well, one thing that
Can't they give you 2 bins? We could put one here at City Hall and one at school.
yeah, well, because Adrian was saying, like, it would be good, like, at the end of the school year, when everybody's like throwing everything away, and that's usually when it would be tossing the notebooks and everything.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
that would, yeah, so.
Yeah, that'll be good.
I've got 4 cases of notebooks that are 3 inches left over from my employment that they didn't want me to send back up there. Is that something that I could put in?
This is like, they take notebooks that, like, you use it, and then there's still some pages left at the end.
Oh,
Well,
those kind of.
They take the empty pages out and make new notebooks. So it's like recycling.
So we're talking about 2 different things.
Yeah, those ones that you're talking about, I would say for like the back to school thing, because they're like,
Nobody uses them, do they?
what are they? The 3-inch?
They're
just the
like
single?
3-inch binders that you buy notebook paper and put in.
You have the binders.
Binders.
Oh, I use them at work.
I could use some of them.
Oh, well.
I have 2-inch binders and they're not big enough.
I've got 3 inches.
I'll come and get a couple from you.
You can have a case.
They're new?
They're brand new.
Oh, geez, yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah.
And bring them here because, when, like the grants, I put they're all in one
Oh
binder.
my gosh, I can keep you, don't buy anything else. 'cause
Okay.
I got.
Yes, this is good recycling.
Yes,
See, we're very
I know,
green.
I like to put it. I was really upset because school kids don't really use them like we
Yeah,
do.
the binders now, but the other things on, yeah, I use them for my patients, like we print out like a face sheet with all their information,
yeah.
and I keep all my notes on the back, and I keep them on the binder.
Yeah.
So what's our next step? What do we have to do next?
I'll let you know for the week or so.
Okay, because like if you need any, like, I could put it in the newsletter.
Mm.
If we want to put it, I don't know if we want to
What's
put
your
it.
newsletter going?
Friday.
All right.
Or, yeah, it could wait till the next newsletter if its
Really?
timing isn't right.
Okay, today's Tuesday.
It's the 26th
Okay.
and it's a short
No,
month.
it's the 25th.
Today's the 25th.
Yeah.
Friday.
It's the 25th.
Tomorrow, this is the 25th.
Today's the, Tuesday.
And I think Sunday, Monday,
Now I gotta do one.
Saturday's the first.
Yeah,
right?
you just,
Where's my calendar?
Saturday is the 5th. Does one size of connector fit all electric cars?
Pretty much, yeah.
Teslas as well as German, Chinese ones?
I don't care about Teslas, tell you the truth. I could
You
care
don't care,
less.
but we should know that.
Some cars come with their adapters, Doc.
my son just bought one.
They,
Some
The
cars
Chargers
have
Jody got a
oh,
quote. for-
Ryan's here. Good.
Yeah, Ryan's
Yeah,
here.
the-
He said,
The
"Cool."
Chargers that Jody got a quote for included both the NACS and the 1772 standard.
That's
Well,
good.
No one knows what that means.
Yeah.
So that's either
That's
or.
the other standard. That's the old one.
It's like
Two
using a
standards,
Mac
yeah.
and a PC, right?
Yeah, the NACS is the one that was formerly called Tesla. It's now the North American Charging Standard.
Well, that's BS.
Yeah, we don't care about Teslas. You're gonna have to get rid of your Tesla, Ryan.
I'm not going to tell you I haven't thought about it.
More Tesla.
I know. My son loves his.
Okay, we also applied for,
Burned to death in his,
oh geez.
it just,
We also applied for and were awarded a Sustainable Jersey Climate Vulnerability Assessment Technical Assistance Grant. There's no money involved, but what we will do is over a couple month period, meet with the people from Sustainable Jersey, and they will walk us through our climate vulnerabilities. That's a mouthful. And basically, I wanted to apply for this because I'm really concerned about wildfire. And that's probably, like, we don't have much in the way of flooding. I mean, we have some areas would flood, but I'm more concerned about fire than anything because we have so much woodlands that have been, they're not maintained or anything like that. And we're in the middle of a drought and the kids go out into the woods and party, and I'm really concerned about that. So we'll look at that and other vulnerabilities. Heat is one of them. What do we do if we have like 105-degree heat wave? How will we survive that? So it'll walk you through all this stuff, and we can come up with a plan. And Ryan's going to have to write the plan at the end of the process, but this could also be included in the master plan. So, and he's working on a master plan at this time. So,
Any idea if we've ever had
we
controlled
talked
burns?
They do them, but I haven't seen them done in the city. They're doing them this week out at Wharton State Forest.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I mean, years ago, I remember they did it, but I don't know.
It
20 years.
Yeah. They should do them here if they could to protect the
And-
properties, but I don't know.
Well, hopefully we'll get our fire chief involved in the class or the session
Good
when we
idea.
talk about wildfire. And we used to have a member of the community who was on the Forest Service, but I think he's retired now.
There's a house on St. Louis that has
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
Fenton used to-
Yeah, Russ Fenton. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's
The
still
sign's
with the
still
fire
up. There's
Yeah,
a
those-
sign still up at his house
on
St. Louis, right?
on St. Louis.
Chicago.
One of those streets. They all look the same to me.
I think it's St. Louis.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
It's like
St.
St. Louis and like,
Is that where he lived?
Camp.
It's not Arago.
Oh, no, it's
No, on it.
Beethoven. I know,
Maybe.
yeah.
It's like 2-3 blocks down.
And there are other people, I mean, you're soil conservation district, so you probably have some input on that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, not me personally. Are you guys a Firewise community?
No,
Okay,
I would love to be there.
yeah.
All of these studies that we're doing, it's kind of neat that we're doing them because although sometimes not much comes from them. If a grant should pop up, makes you eligible to get them. So, and they provide a lot of points towards Sustainable Jersey certification. So there's another one that Ryan's going to be doing. He'll probably talk about it. We could probably this year, if we could get some of these things completed, we could probably get silver certification, which is really hard to get in New Jersey. And they have something else called a gold standard in, I don't know, vulnerability assessments or whatever. There's we could probably get a gold star for that. So it's amazing how much stuff we have in the hopper that can give us points. So I'm really pleased about that. And like I said, you know, a lot of times these studies are done and they just stick them in a drawer, nothing happens. But as long as I'm in charge of the green team, I'm going to have it in the back of my mind every time I see an opportunity. We can just cash it. It's hard, but it's good. Okay, so we talked about doing a spring environmental series again, and I asked for ideas, and these are some of the ideas we came up with to do a pot party, and we did that once before, where everybody brings their pot, and we provide the dirt and the plants, and they make their own potted garden.
I mean, like a pot,
So
like
we
a
could do that.
plastic
That's
pot,
an easy
right?
one.
You're talking about like
we could do a
clay
rain
pot
barrel
or
workshop. Yeah, like
not
whatever you
pot,
bring, we'll provide
not
dirt.
marijuana pot, but a
Not
plastic
cannabis pot.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
You'll have to do that before you
Right
come
on
to
the
the pot
front
party.
door.
There's if you want, yeah, we could do that.
I did basil the one year. That we did it. And there were like different.
There were flowers, we had some vegetables. We could get all that stuff. I have a little bit of money in the, we got a donation from a very prominent Margate resident. And so we have a little bit of money to pay for that kind of stuff. The Pinelands Preservation Alliance, we might be able to tap them for doing like a session on those rare plants that are in the pinelands, like the lady slipper and the pink lady slipper. So that's an opportunity. We could do a session with Jerry where the public could come in and meet the arborist and he could give some advice. I'd like to do a mountain laurel walk this year. We did the walk at the trail, but it was after the mountain laurel had bloomed. So yeah, if Mike would head that up, that would be great. And like to do it, I think it's in May, like mid-May. You'd have to do it before Memorial Day. Is he on here now? Okay. And then we got it offered to do a rain garden workshop. I don't know if it would be in Egg Harbor City, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. And then we have Arbor Day, which we need to clear money from the grant to be able to give away trees like we did last year and do our Arbor Day program.
Where do you get?
We went to a nursery up 206 somewhere,
In Columbus?
just past Columbus. What is it?
Pinelands Nursery?
Not Pinelands. It was another organization. Larry Kuzer's Fernbrook Farms.
Okay.
And we went up there and we got, they must have been about 1.5 inch caliber trees in pots. And they were very reasonable. I think we spent $500 last year on the trees and gave away, I think we had 24 trees, different varieties. And so we'll try to do that again.
Mine's living happily in my backyard.
What did you get? Do you remember?
A river birch.
Oh, yeah, they're
Because
nice.
there's
Good
a wet
idea.
area when it does rain. It
Great
drains
idea.
there.
And that the bark on them starts,
I can't
it's
wait.
beautiful. They're beautiful trees. I'd like to. You got the elm.
You were the one that suggested that. It was a good call. Thank you.
Yeah, good. I planted one in the ground. I don't remember what it was. And I have 2 in pots that we can raffle off or give away too. So, all right. So I'm going to need help with these things to do this. We need to come up with a schedule, and I'm going to have to ask you guys to head it up. Help me. I mean, I could help organize it. I could do the design work for flyers, things like that. Oh, and we got to put on here the photo contest.
Could you consider a storm sewer assessment
That
analysis?
that would be in with this climate vulnerability assessment. Stormwater, it includes stormwater.
But it's our infrastructure that needs to be examined. That
Yes,
is, what's not flowing properly or
right,
what needs to be cleaned out or whatever.
right, right. And we, Ryan, is he still up here? Yeah, he can talk a little bit more about that because the city applied for something that
Hey, I need you guys to be quiet. I need to talk. Hey.
would provide a lot of money to do that over the next couple of years.
Is that something that
Ryan?
New Jersey American Water
Yeah.
does about?
No, because they don't. Go ahead, Ryan.
Don't mind my kids in the background.
No problem.
So New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, through their Clean Water Program, has funding for stormwater infrastructure, which is almost never available. They have a program where qualifying municipalities, which they have as tier, I think they grouped them as tier 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 municipalities are eligible for up to $3 million in principal forgiveness, which is effectively a grant. You have to borrow it, and then they immediately forgive it when you close the loan. So there's
Great.
FY25 funding available and FY26 funding available. Our application is in. We're working on the FY25 project now as fast as we can, because it's essentially I have to send it up to DP for review in like a couple of weeks. We just got survey back, so we're trying to fly through it. We identified older infrastructure to replace old city style inlets, which don't meet the MS4 rules, and a whole bunch of old sections of vitrified clay and crumbling concrete pipe. Primarily on Beethoven Avenue, a section on Claudius up near City Hall from Philadelphia towards Fourth Terrace, and then another section on Arago. So we just identified everything that we could that would not require a permit and was clearly not in good shape. And we're just sort of flying through that as quickly as we can. We have to have a contract awarded by June 30th to get that $3 million grant locked in.
Wow.
And then we'll be able to do the same thing again next year, because they'll be eligible for another $3 million next year. And DEP has told us they have every anticipation that all $3 million should be available next year as well.
That's great.
That's great.
That's really great.
Yeah, so it's kind of like $6 million fell out of the sky, and
Yeah.
we just needed to run as fast as we could to try to make sure we got it.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to go back to the climate vulnerability assessment, technical assistance. Anybody who would like to be involved with that, we have a meeting, Zoom meeting next week, Friday, March 7th at 1:30. And it's like the first session, and then they'll give us an idea of how this process is going to go over the
Very
next.
good.
It'll be on Zoom.
What time is it?
At 1:30 to 2:30, Friday, March 7th. And it's a webinar type thing through Sustainable Jersey.
Yeah.
I have the invitation I'll send out. If anybody's interested, let me know.
What do you, yeah, I'll be away. So I guess it's not like a record thing.
No, no, because you got to participate,
Yeah,
you know,
all right,
it's
yeah,
like,
okay.
so if anybody's
I'll
interested
get
in
it
it,
out.
it's kind of, it probably, these things can be dry and boring, but once you get involved in it, you're learning so much, it becomes kind of exciting. For nerds like me, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right, and then my goal was to share this Davy tree inventory, but I'm going to pass on that for now because this computer won't read my software, my password for some reason. It'll do it on my Mac, but won't do it on here. I figured that, yeah. So we have, Ryan, you wanted to talk about something else, that you're working on?
Anything specific or?
Yeah, what did I, what's on the agenda for Thursday's meeting?
Oh, it's
That's
the,
another Sustainable Jersey program.
it's for, pedestrian transportation routes. I can't remember exactly what the funding is called, but it's
Complete
technical
streets, right?
assistance. So design assistance funding.
And
go ahead.
we had a complete streets ordinance passed years ago, because that was one of our first Sustainable Jersey points that we got. I think Ed Dennis was still on council back then.
Yeah, the city has a complete streets ordinance on its books, but part of the technical assistance would one of the eligible activities was updating the complete streets policy to reflect the current state standards.
Well, this is what prompted you to do this.
When we met with SJTPO trying to get the school travel plan, I'm sorry, SJTPO and Cross County Connection. They are the transportation management organization.
Yeah,
See, whatever. They're fully funded by DOT. They're the transportation management organization in for this like tri-county region. And they do school travel plans and they do stuff like that. One of the things that they were pointing us to was they can offer this technical assistance. It's funded through Sustainable Jersey, I believe, but it's them offering technical
Yeah.
design assistance. So when we met with them, they were like, "Hey, you should apply for this other money to do like a small. Sometimes we can do a small pilot project. We can give you some planning assistance. All of which would be for free." So the application's actually due.
well, it was interesting that was on the.
Yeah,
it's
well,
due
that's
this
we
week,
need a
right?
resolution. Yeah, we need a resolution support on Thursday. The application's due on
Right.
Friday.
Yeah. It was interesting that this popped up because of the last land use board meeting discussion about sidewalks.
Mm.
And that's part of, having a complete streets policy, is that you want to make sure that you have sidewalks for pedestrians. You will probably include bike paths, things like that, so that, in other words, your streets are able to be traversed by all people, including the handicapped and kids on bikes, children back and forth to school. So there was an issue that came up. They granted a waiver to a place in the industrial park where there are no sidewalks anywhere in the industrial park except this one location, that the soccer place. And because there's a lot of
Eurosport.
kids there, Eurosport. Yeah, there's, it hasn't been there. Place has been operational for 20 years without them, but it came up for some reason. Anyway, they
They still
granted the
don't have a
waiver,
final
but
CO.
prior to, right, and because of that,
Yeah, they've been held up with a TCO because they were required to get the sidewalks done, and the city would not give them a final CO. We advised them all the way back in 2009 that they needed to come back to the board and seek relief if they weren't going to put the sidewalks in. So like every couple of years, it would come up again, and the city would agitate the situation and send a letter and say, "Hey, you're still in your TCO. We don't want to renew this. We want you to do something." And he was able to string it out for quite some time.
so they gave him the waiver temporarily until, if the property, like if they were supposed to put a second building up, if they ever do that second building, he'll have to put the sidewalk. But in any case, prior to that, the city council is the only organization that can waive the requirements for sidewalks after the fact. And that we had 2 instances in the past couple of years that I voted against to waive sidewalks for properties. One was a property on Boston and Berger that was a corner lot where they built the house, and
Yeah,
the
it
guy
was-
asked for a waiver. And that's like sidewalks on 2 streets he got a waiver for.
Well,
And
so the
what
reason for
happens
that
if somebody like is in a wheelchair and needs to get to the next house on the block? They have to go
So
out
the-
into the middle of the street to get there.
The reason for that waiver request was that there was a low spot along the frontage, so it would have cost him somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 to install an inlet and piping, and the curb and the sidewalk and everything, which would have just essentially would have made the lot undevelopable. The second part of it is, I believe initially he was not advised that he needed to install sidewalks. So
Well,
that has
that's
been
that's
corrected
B,
at the building department level.
yeah, that's BS though, because you can't build a house anywhere in South Jersey without putting in a sidewalk. So any developer who's building a house knows they got to
Well,
put in a sidewalk. You work it into the cost of the house.
Not in a 10-acre or 15-acre.
No, not out in the woods, but if you're, in the city proper here, that's part of Leach Streets, and that's what it's all about, is making sure that you're accessible for all users.
If you are,
Kids.
I know that house that they just built on, where Luby's was, there's a sidewalk there on the 100 block, but it stopped, like where Luby's was, like.
Yeah, because there was a curb cut there. Was there a driveway there?
It wasn't, like, I guess complete. But I know they put the sidewalk. I don't like the way the house is situated on the lot. Not that, it matters to me, but it's just like so close to the street. And they took all the trees down the lot.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like really, I don't know, bare.
Well, it might be nice afterwards to plant new trees.
Yeah, it just doesn't look, I mean, I guess it doesn't look the way that it's looked, every day for the last, however many years of my life.
Doesn't have the old building that housed Luby's either.
Yeah, that would have been, nice.
I would be interested in the degree to which people who use the indoor soccer facility in the industrial park come by bicycle. I suspect they're virtually all bused or driven there.
Yeah, parents drop them off.
But there's an obvious bicycle route that would take you right to there. It's called the Antwerp.
Yeah, but how many
rail
kids?
bed.
I don't know how many kids from Egg Harbor actually go there.
That's an interesting question.
Because I think it's kind of a regional thing, and I know they pull a lot from the shore towns, because that's where the gentleman who owns it lives, or I don't know if he still owns it, but that's where he was. So, and soccer's popular over there. It's not that popular in Egg Harbor because we don't have any youth leagues, So it's not like a feeder program to that. But who else is up here? Tyler Savage.
He's here with me, only he's not here.
He's here. There he is. Hi, Tyler. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. So you're with the Soil Conservation District too?
Yes.
Are you an arborist?
No, I'm not an arborist. I just started in the community forestry program. So I'll be helping out with kind of outreach to communities and things like that concerning their forest resources.
Okay. So what can you do for us?
So I think, Sharon kind of mentioned this in kind of our email chain, but I think she put it really well, where we can kind of like explore different ways that we could maybe provide technical assistance as needed. I saw that you guys did do the inventory through Davy, which is really great. And so I was, we can kind of talk more about it, but I was curious about your community forestry management plan that will be kind of set to expire next year. So again, we could offer, we'd be happy to offer, expertise on that, if technical help with that if needed.
Okay. Well, Davy has been contracted to do our next forestry management plan. I think it would be our fourth or fifth forestry management plan. And the last one we had done expired in 2023. But because of COVID, they gave us a year extension, and that put it to 2024. And because of the grants and all that, they gave us additional time to get it done. So we're okay till the end of 2025. But hopefully that'll be done this year. And I have to say that the last person who did our forestry management plan was a guy, Ron Farr from North Jersey. He was an arborist.
Mhm.
Do you remember when he came down he came down twice and met with us, and he did the best plan that we've had so far. And believe it or not, we accomplished most of the stuff in there, except for becoming designated a tree city. So, it maybe next year we can apply for tree city status. We did, one of the requirements to be a tree city is that we have to spend $2 per capita on trees. And up until last year, we didn't have a way of tracking how much we were spending on trees. But Jody managed to get it into the budget and put a separate line item for it. So now we spend, I think, about $10,000 a year on trees, which includes
That's
leaf pickup, all the times the guys go out and maintain the trees, or, if we do our community plantings and all that. So, yeah, so we're good with that. And, well, you'll have to, once we get our tree committee formed, many of the people in this room are going to be on our tree committee. So, that's why they're here. But,
Feeling totally incompetent.
yeah, then we'll be able to work some real magic. And how about you? What do you want to report on?
I'd like to talk to you about two things, probably three by the time I'm done with the first two. One is the Mayor's Monarch Challenge, which I think I talked to you about in that before, but it's I can't, but it's the mayor of a town can do the Mayor's Monarch Challenge. And it's similar to Sustainable Jersey in that it has a certain number of actions that are available to you to do to help increase the population of the monarch butterfly, but also to decrease fragmentation of the habitat for the monarch butterfly.
So what would that be?
Well, there are 30 actions that you can take, which are listed there, but you only need to do 3 in order to be considered having fulfilled the pledge. You can do as many as you want, and if you're already doing them anyway, there's really no reason not to be recognized as a mayor's monarch city municipality. So I just wanted to introduce it to you, if you had an interest in doing it.
Definitely. I think that's a great idea. That could be one of our spring environmental series programs.
Boom, that's what I was thinking.
All right. Because people are interested in, saving the monarchs. And I understand this year they're at their lowest point ever.
Isn't it terrible? This is
Yeah.
awful.
Well, I think it had something to do with the storms when they were migrating last October? And a lot of them were injured or never made it to their destination. But I have a video, as a matter of fact. I cover Ventnor Margate in Longport. And one day I was down in Longport, and there's always monarchs in Longport, more than the other towns. And it's right at the tip of, and there's this one house, it's the last house on Ventnor Avenue. Well, it becomes Atlantic. The last house on Atlantic Avenue, there's a house, and then there's that seawall. There were thousands of monarch butterflies on the shady side of 3 pine trees. They were there resting during the migratory season, but only on the shady side. They weren't on the sunny side. So I was like, I took video of it, and I took some pictures and wrote a story about it for the local newspaper here. So what are some of the things that we can do?
Some of them, like I said, we probably are already doing, because you guys are bronze now, right?
We have what?
Bronze for Sustainable Jersey, right? You're
We have
bronze.
bronze.
Bronze, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably have already done some of the things that are in here.
Nanette?
But some of them are like a really easy lift, which would just be the mayor issuing a proclamation saying that you are planning on implementing measures that will take care of the big issue that we have with monarch butterflies. And it's probably one of those whereas ones where, like, whereas the monarch butterfly is an indicator, a key indicator species for pollinators, etc. Also, one of the other things is maintaining mowing program that would make sure that you're not destroying the habitat that's needed during the time that the monarchs are in the area. And you see those signs out there saying no mow between this month and this month. Just being cognizant of that and making sure that you can do that.
Well, how can we identify where they're nesting? Do we?
I could not tell you that. I could look into it, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. They are attractive, of course, to the pollinators that are like the milkweed, and that there's a lot of pollinators. I can send you the list of all the pollinators, including their scientific names and their common name. And if you have somebody here that is, I know you have an arborist, but I don't know if you have a botanist, but if you have somebody or garden club that would be able to identify these plants.
Is that something Tyler can help with?
No, he does trees.
Oh, okay.
So Nanette,
These are tree guys. I think you have to have people that are,
well, I don't think we have too many public locations where there's milkweed growing, but the best place for it is along the railroad track. Because it grows kind of wild, and that would be the perfect spot to put it on Atlantic Avenue along the fence line. But of course, when the train goes by, they will blow away, but they'll come back.
Have you worked much with the Atlantic County Master Gardener?
What we have, yes.
Because I'm working on a project with her right now, and this would be the next project.
Okay.
So we should talk more about it.
Okay.
I wanted to just.
Belinda Chester?
Yes.
Yes, Belinda, yes. So if you all have an interest, I know that you've indicated an interest, but if you decide that you want to move forward, I would.
How do we feel about this, folks? We all love monarch butterflies. Right?
Oh, I love them.
We're going for it.
Yeah.
East Pilgrim Park, wasn't there milkweed growing there at one point, but everything got ripped out, didn't it?
Yes, there was a pollinator garden there. But I don't know if everything got ripped out, but that one pollinator garden was down on the lower level there. So I don't know if
I think Lisa took it all out
she
herself.
took that down
Yes.
too.
Well, I know there was a big problem where people got it in their heads that it was a dog park.
Yeah.
And dogs were like running through
Yeah.
and peeing on.
And it wasn't
everything.
maintained,
And
it is a dog park.
we had a group that put that garden in, and they just don't come back and maintain.
Everybody knows.
And that's why I think it should be like in a wooded area, on the border of a wooded area where it doesn't need that, it's not a
It can
garden.
run wild.
Right, it could go wild. That's probably the best spot for it. And I noticed that on the road that comes into the lake, the campground road, there's a milkweed growing in a certain area over there.
Okay, good.
So maybe we could put some in those wooded areas where it could just go wild, and because if it has to be maintained, like it's in a pretty, it's not happening.
It needs to be drought tolerant, but there would have to be, once you have to establish it. Once it's gone a year, normally you're fine.
Yeah.
You can just leave it alone and let it do its thing, but you have to make sure that it's strong enough to stay established. And then.
Well, I had planted some in my yard, in my garden, and it took over. I had to pull it all out because it grows wild. I did. I put it. See, what I do is when I get rid of plants from my garden, I put them out in the back on the terrace, and then I post it on Facebook. Hostas are back there, free, go and get them, and people come and get them. you know, because they see
Their
them.
house.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was that, and so I would like to follow up with you all about it. But the other thing was I wanted to, invite you all, we have, green drinks that's going to be next Tuesday. And it is our 10-year anniversary of green drinks in Stafford Township.
Oh, in Stafford.
Yes, so, because I'm on the Sustainable Stafford Green Team in Ocean County, and we've been doing these green drinks for 10 years now. And
Is it that long?
yes, we're very excited to.
I remember when they
celebrate our
started them.
anniversary.
What day is it?
It's Tuesday, March
4th?
Yes, thank you. And it's from 5:30 to 7:30, and it attracts people from all over Southern Ocean County, and sometimes some of the Stockton kids come up too. So we talk about what's going on in the environment, what people are doing for it. Sometimes more simply sustainable Jersey kind of situation where people are like, we're trying to get our governing body more interested, or how did you write this ordinance, or stuff like that. So it goes, it gets very it gets very animated. But it's a fun time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and the food's great. Everybody buys their own.
Where's it
food.
going to be?
It's at the Mainland Kitchen and Pub, which is in the Holiday Inn on Route 72. So March 4th, 5:30 to 7:30,
On Route what?
72.
And it's Tuesday.
So you take the Parkway exit towards Long Beach Island, and it'll be right before Route 9.
I have 2 meetings that night.
No.
I do. I have one at 4 and one at 6. So I won't be there. But Barbara Reynolds will be there,
Yeah,
right?
she asked, well, we're actually in the newspaper. She was so excited to let everybody know about the 10th anniversary.
So if anybody's interested in going, they're always fun. We had a couple here.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, we had the one over at the Inn on St. Louis.
Mhm.
And then I think there was one, the last one I went to was in Summers Point. It was, I think that was the Hub.
Oh,
The
okay.
Hub had a green drinks. They're always fun because it's, it's just a bunch of people concerned about the environment out for drinks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, a lot of good conversations, and you get to talk to everybody. It's fun.
I highly
So.
recommend.
Nanette, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I just sent you a flyer. I had in my previous municipality, I had the mayor become a monarch mayor in 2020. And then it developed into, it was just a resolution. And then it developed into a festival, an annual festival with hundreds of people in it that participated. So we planted butterfly gardens and milkweed in certain areas. We kind of like, it was just maybe like a pollinator garden on steroids. And we were able to do that. So, and I'm not just an arborist, I'm a horticulturist as well. So I'll be able to help you with any plant material that you're looking for. But that flyer I just text you if you want to distribute that.
Boy, you're amazing, Jerry.
Yeah, that became an annual festival, and it became a big deal. And funny is that we had this big gruff mayor who grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and he became a monarch butterfly, and did he embrace that big time. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. So
we'll
it was
have
great.
to get you a monarch butterfly costume.
Yeah. So what we did was we also created wings. It was an 8-foot span monarch butterfly wings, and people were taking photographs. So you put your face in it and you look like a monarch butterfly with your face in it. It was just a great festival all around. So I have a lot of ideas.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely do this. I think it's going to be, this will do a lot to get people involved in the green tea thing, because everybody knows about the monarchs right now, and everybody knows about planting milkweed and stuff, and we need to engage them more.
I made a couple of copies, may as well.
You want to take a copy here? All I need is one, right? That's just.
Yeah.
Lisa will make a great monarch mayor. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, she will.
She will.
Who else
We'll
is
get it
on
done.
here?
All right, I think that's it. I did want to, I'm gonna try to do this. How do I do it?
I think there's a letter and then there's a letter and then the actions.
Right.
I'm challenged here. I'm not going to be able to figure it out. So we'll do the demonstration. I got to figure out how to do it. I can't. Maybe if I was at home and we did a Zoom and I was home on my home computer and not on this, just like this is my work computer and it's not set up with all my emails and everything. So maybe we could do a special Zoom. We're going to I need to get you on, because if you are interested in doing that heat island assessment,
I'll talk.
did you look at the document I sent
I
you?
did, and I showed it to Gary Mueller, and I asked whether his engineering company
Oh, you
was
don't need,
interested in that, and he said, his is not, but others would be, and Ryan might be willing to, or that Remington and Burnett may be into it, but it is an engineering calculation assessment of the type that substantial training and familiarity with the issues are required, and
everything you need to do this is in the inventory.
Everything.
No, it is because the way the inventory is, when you log on, you could punch out planting strips, and they've identified small
Correct.
planting strips and large planting strips. And when you click in and if you just put on large planting strips, they're your heat islands, and that will tell you how many trees you can fit on that block. They have maps, the pins are already there.
Yeah, we have 1,000 available tree planting sites according to the inventory.
It's not that difficult.
it smells to me.
That's so funny. It cracks me
No,
up.
all right, well, we'll get somebody else to do it, but this is, if we do the whole thing, we can get up to 20 points. And there's different options, Sustainable Jersey doesn't make anything easy. They make it look very difficult, but in actuality, it's not as difficult as they make it seem. And like they're telling you, you got to get all these people involved. We don't. All we need to do is have one person willing to sit in front of that computer and do some, a couple hours worth of work to get this heat island assessment done. Is that something that Tyler might be able to help with? Tyler?
On there,
Yeah, there's certain ways that I've looked at heat islands. But in terms of looking more in depth about that, I can kind of look into that and get an answer for you for that.
Okay, well, what you can do is go to the Sustainable Jersey website and look at the actions, and just you'll see one of the actions is listed as heat. It's called Heat Island Assessment and Mitigation Plan, and it's basically, where don't you have trees?
Yeah.
They're your heat islands. And like I said, if you need access to the inventory, everything's in there. You could just punch in what you want. It'll come up. It'll have a map. Print out the map or take a screenshot of the map. It's simple. It really is simple.
Tyler, we could do a Zoom.
But then it's like, okay, now that you know where these sites are, what's your
Yeah.
plan to revegetate them, to eliminate? And that's, we'll work with Jerry and say, we're going to plant 10 trees on that block.
Yep.
It's not that difficult.
We can do a Zoom. And I can share my screen while I'm manipulating the data and the information on the program. Pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Let me just I'll look into that more, and then I can reach out to you guys and we can see if that's something we can work out.
Steve's
Good.
not up here.
Thank you.
Annette, real
go.
quick, while
Here.
we're on the tree inventory.
Steve Elliott,
He had to leave, Nanette.
he was here. And that's something that I wanted to get Steve and Ryan together, because
Can
did
you
you
hear me?
talk to him, Steve? I mean, Ryan?
No, I see he has a couple like messages up in the top corner that one that he had to leave. But while we're on the tree inventory, can you request the shape files and geodatabases from whoever put the inventory together?
Yeah.
Because we can do a lot more than what they can do, just in their online mapping tool. It would be helpful to have all that raw data because we can overlay it with other information. We can compare it to roads we've done in the past. We can do all kinds of other, analysis and comparisons if I have that raw GIS data.
So we can request it. I'm not sure. It's very proprietary. That's kind of
That was my concern.
yeah. So, but we can request it and see what happens, Ryan. And if not, of course, the engineer can have access to the program. But
Sure.
I'm not sure if what you're asking for will be available to us, but we'll try.
Right. Well, Steve, what's his name? Elliott from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance wants to put a rapid green stormwater infrastructure thing on he's got here at the Gertrude Lauer, but that's in Mullica. That's not in Egg Harbor City. Where is it? He's got it in a plot of land on I guess it's a detention basin or a retention basin on Philadelphia Avenue in the Egg Harbor North area. And basically, I think what they want to do is put in a rain garden there. And I wanted to run it by Ryan. I don't know if you think it would work there, but I think you should weigh in on it before we ask council to allow them to do that.
Yeah, I replied, I think it'd be best just to have a conversation because where they're trying to put it,
Where is it here?
is like at the very top edge of the watershed. So if they're trying to like capture some upstream runoff, there's not going to be very much there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything. They sent an overhead picture and it just looks like it's a sandy pit.
So there's an existing infiltration basin there. So if they want to, convert it to a bioretention facility or something like bioinfiltration facility, that's something we could talk about. But I couldn't quite tell from that graphic what their intent was.
Yeah. All right. So would you be willing to talk to him?
Yeah, of course.
All right. I'll give him your contact information. Say, clear this with Ryan first before we get, involved in anything, because they originally wanted to do something at the lake. And I'm like, I don't want to plant anything at the lake that's not already there. To me, that would be an adding invasives because the type of plants that they use are kind of pollinator type things. And I'm like, I don't think we want to do that there. And when they went out there, they noted that there's some erosion going on the North Shore of the lake. And they kind of walked away. And I was like, that was it. And it was the last time I heard from them. And then they came back last week and said they wanted to do this site. And I'm like, oh, I got to get that to Ryan to see if that's even possible. I don't know what the regulations would be over there. And I don't know if they do either, but.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to them, whatever they're trying to do. We'll figure something out.
Okay. It's Steve Elliott from Pineland Preservation Alliance. So if you get an email from him or get a phone call from him.
Yep.
All right. I don't have anything else. I wanted to show you the software, but I'm not even going to try because I'm too technology challenged today. I'm like, my mind's going to explode. But I thank everybody online for coming. And anybody else have anything for the good of the cause or want to bring up anything? Oh, sure. Pleasure. I like monarch butterflies.
Because I'm smart enough to have a question.
Just show up when we need you, and that's good enough.
I'll roll.
All right, folks, I'm going to adjourn the meeting now.
Thanks, Nanette. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
See you.
Bye.
See you tomorrow, Tyler.
Good night.